Today, could a goldfish write CheckPoint? Probably. I mean, they can play video games, apparently.
Goldfish does what it wants.
I mean, that's less a indictment of the quality of CheckPoint and more me just how impressive goldfish are.
I think that means we're missing out by not having the goldfish guest on our show today.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have got a hell of an interview.
Just randomly moving around.
Yeah, we could have gotten real deep on that interview. Just really sank it all the way home.
Keep going.
I'd love to know the difference between just like a random generator and the goldfish, like in terms of effectiveness of playing video games.
That's an experiment you could probably run, Paul.
I feel like if it was randomly generated stuff, that it would get further. Because that goldfish got stuck a lot.
I mean,
at least with a randomly generated whatever, you could be like, it's randomly generating constantly, so it means that it's constantly generating new inputs. Whereas that fish would be like, I'm just going to sit over here on the A button for a while because it's fun. I don't have to constantly
that sounds like a gamer to me, though. It's
yeah.
like I'm only gonna push this button for a while because it's fun. I've played hack and slash games. You don't actually use the other buttons.
It's fair.
All right.
Swim past A to win.
Before we get too much deeper into goldfish gaming, let's welcome everybody to the stream. Welcome to ChillPoint. We were away for a week because there was a special Fall Guys event thing, Twitch Rivals thing that we took part in, and didn't do that well, I think.
That's second to last.
They
second to
didn't,
last.
Yeah, they didn't do last spot. So that's still something.
Yep.
Also, I heard they had fun, which isn't that the real...
No.
The friends we made along the way? What?
Oh, no, you had to have friends to enter.
Okay.
You didn't make friends along the way.
Yeah.
No, it's whether you win or lose. How you play the game does not matter. With Fall Guys, anyway.
I'm pretty sure there are some things that would matter.
So welcome to the show. We are this is ChillPoint, the show where we talk about all the video game news of the past week. That is so we do a show on our YouTube channel called CheckPoint, where we also do that, but it's a much more serious affair where we're very carefully reading out very well scripted news about all the silly things that happen in the world of gaming news. This is not that. This is where we talk about all the other stuff. And we give you some more details about the stories that we did in CheckPoint and some of the stories that we didn't do, either for time or for various other reasons that we just didn't think of anything particularly good for a CheckPoint story for it. I'd
like to point out that if you're watching this VOD on YouTube, which would be on youtube.com/loadingreadylive, the CheckPoint episodes go on the other YouTube, which is youtube.com/loadingreadyrun. So if you're like, what? I never see these episodes on this YouTube channel because you only follow the VOD channel for some reason. Check out our other channel. We do some other things that aren't gaming related that are fun. I think sometimes.
I agree.
Chat says they are getting some echo from me, which I cannot hear on my end.
I can't hear it from you either.
Intriguing.
Some people are also saying they're not hearing the echo. So, those of you who are hearing an echo,
away.
do you have Paul open in 2 windows?
I'm not.
Are you
getting
watching
echo.
us twice? I don't think we get twice as many viewers that way. But it's very thoughtful of you to try.
That's fair.
All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. People saying no echo on my end, so fine. We'll just leave it. Apparently, it's nothing terribly severe. Oh wait. Now I am hearing it a little bit. Oh, I wonder if it's just coming through
Our setup?
your headphones a little bit. I don't know why, but
This is what it sounds like if you were coming through on our end, Paul. Talk.
hey everybody.
Hey everybody! Die!
Whoa! Wow! You didn't
Don't
need to
do
turn it
that.
up that much.
Don't do that.
You'd know for sure if you were coming through on our ends.
I was thinking more that it was very quietly coming through from your headphones. Not that you were actually routing the audio through my.
Yeah, you also didn't need to turn it up 75%. That was mean to everybody.
I can turn Paul down on our end, actually, in our headphones a little bit, and I don't know if that'll affect things or not. But
And for all of you in chat who are saying "ow my ears," I am also wearing headphones and heard that. So we are all in this together. Okay. So stories this week. I say in the little today thing down there, it says Yakuza translation and Animal Friends, because I don't know why. I don't know whether it was just something about this week, but we had a lot of stories about Animal Friends. We had the fish gaming, and we had several stories about. Well, we had the bodega cat in.
I mean, it doesn't say friends.
Spider-Man. And then we also had, well, it says Fire Ends. Because
Yeah. That's
I
what
didn't-
most of my friends are like,
have
I think.
I didn't have any animal friends to help me with the spelling. And we had a story about petting dogs.
yeah,
And also cats.
yes.
In the upcoming Assassin's Creed. So, yeah, let's. I mean, we were talking about the fish gaming, which is, this is the first one I've actually seen. Like obviously Twitch plays Pokemon was a thing a while ago. I saw a previous fish plays a video game thing that was 2 fish that are different colors playing Street Fighter against each other, which was actually pretty awesome.
Oh, that sounds pretty good.
And so like they had, where they would swim, they were like fighting. They were fighting fish that didn't even know that they were fighting fish.
Ah,
There was like one gold one like a bluish one, and so they had like separate trackers so they could track them and move them around. And so it was one of those things that was like surprisingly engaging. Like you would watch it because they were sort of competing ostensibly. So
Yeah.
it would be like the two characters would be sitting there and like jump, 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 jump. And then one would kind of get a little closer to the other and you'd be like, oh, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. And then the other one would like back up. It's like, oh.
oh, he reacted. He reacted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the guy would come and like feed his fish, and people would be like, "That's cheating," because of course when you feed the fish go up to the top, and so it changes. It's like
Right.
it messes with the natural way the fish are moving. So, yeah, it's I feel like a fish could actually, aside from the board game part, I feel like a fish in like Mario Party could do surprisingly well. That was
Yeah.
just like, not doing much during the mini games. The old like Luigi standing there while everyone else falls off the platform kind of thing.
I would probably watch a 4-player Fish Mario Party thing.
Mm.
Because like I assume the mini games are gonna sometimes not have anything happen, or because of the clock. Like the clock will just like wind down before they can do
Right.
anything. But you're also gonna get those mini games where some of them just walk off the edge of whatever, and others just win by default.
Right,
But
right.
I'd really like to see the board interaction where they're using items or they're like not paying for the stars they go around. Like,
Yeah, it's anything that requires like multiple steps in order to make it happen is almost never going to happen, right? And so it's like it's fascinating to see because of course the like Twitch plays Pokemon, like the difference between like a fish that is literally just swimming around randomly or with its own ideas, whatever criteria the fish is using to move around. It's not playing the game, as opposed to the like Twitch plays a game where
Yeah.
they are ostensibly trying to play the game, but there are so many of them that it results in this like massive sort of chaos aspect.
Yeah,
so they're all kind of moving around.
None of us is as dumb as all of us, kind of thing. Yes.
Right, right. I remember my favorite Twitch plays thing was Halo, because at the very beginning of Halo, at the first level, the first part of the first level, or after like the tutorial bit, there's a part where there's a bridge over like a chasm that's quite narrow. And I think they spent like a week on that bridge, never being able to get past it because like you just lining up and then moving forward without moving to the side at all just was impossible for the chat to work its way. So the person running it had to finally like take control, move past the bridge, and go.
Ah.
yeah, I think that's generally what you hear is it's like, oh, we had this thing going on, but no one could move in a straight line for a while, or nobody could manage to do this one thing. So we had to put in like a cooldown timer, or we had to just manually take over until we could get them past a part or something.
Yeah. I mean, or there was like the Dark Souls one where it was literally voting per frame. Like they actually did like,
right,
for the next action, the guy's gonna like the next frame. What are we gonna do? And the next frame, what are we gonna do? And the next frame, and it, using that system, it was actually very effective. And then you would just, and then obviously it was horrible to watch though. But then if you watched like the like sped up version of it, that was actually like real time, it actually looked like totally reasonable gameplay. Yeah,
it's like playing chess by mail.
Yeah, exactly. Dark Souls by mail. Anyway, I love the idea of that finding a glitch in a game using just like a fish randomly wandering around. And some people in the chat in the YouTube comments actually were saying that like throwing a ton of like a random generator or like a ton of garbage values is actually like a QA testing thing to do, right? Like run this system for for 2 days, putting in hundreds of thousands of garbage values to make sure that nothing wrong happens.
Right.
Is a real thing. So that's basically what was happening here, but it's just much, much slower. Fuzzing. Yeah, chaos testing.
Okay.
Fuzzing.
That's cool.
All right. What else we got going on here? Oh yeah, these dumb ads.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I've actually seen these ads.
Yeah. Oh, I was actually saying, yeah. I was saying to Graham Beach that I have attempted to download one of these games. I forget which one it was. Maybe Garden Homescapes? I don't know. like I was playing a game and I saw the ad with the little like move the things, and I was like, you know, that's sure. I'm into like puzzle games. That seems like the kind of kind of a low impact puzzle game that could be kind of interesting to play for a little bit. I'm sure it'll be filled with microtransaction bullcrap, but whatever. I'll look at it, and I click on the ad, and then I go to the App Store site page, and it has like 1 star, and all the reviews are like not what was in the ad, and so I'm like, oh, okay, I won't download it.
I've definitely because I haven't seen I'm not playing a lot of games that have ads that pop up anymore, and so I'm not really encountering ads a lot for games because I don't have anything really free to play that I'm playing anymore. But I do remember the trend of like the weird protracted tower defense game that you have to play,
where you can kind of play it while you're waiting for it to end.
Yeah, you're waiting for the freaking thing, and it's like, I gotta wait 30 seconds. And it's like, so here's what you need to do is tap on this, then tap on this, and then you'll generate more of whatever, and then you'll tap on this and tap on this, and you'll generate more of whatever, and then you're just basically sending things at a... And there's like, but I kept seeing ones that was like, this one is Final Fantasy themed.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like, what?
It's not. It's like it's like they've used some of the graphics, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's... Because I've seen... So there's the Gardenscape, Homescape ones, but have you seen the ones that look like clones of that, where suddenly what you get is a guy in like armor who has to get to like a treasure, but he's mad that the treasure all gets melted instead of dying in the fire. But it's exactly the same premise.
Yeah.
And then they also do some with like girls who are trying to get to their dates or something.
Okay.
Right,
It's
or like
weird.
save this thing or do this. Yeah, I mean, there's all so, and like my thing with this was like, okay, they've done the research that their match 3 game, ads for their match 3 game don't work. So we have to fool people into getting our match 3 game by pretending it's this other game that people do want to download. Why don't they make that other game?
Yeah.
The game with the like little pins that you move doesn't seem like... It seems like it would be easier to make than a match 3 game, or at least as easy to make. Like, it doesn't seem like a very complicated game. It's just like it's a very simple little puzzle game. It's in the like, Flash game kind of realm stuff. And it's like, why don't they just make that game that clearly whatever market research they're doing indicates people want to have.
Right.
And like, there's no, they could still fill it full of microtransaction bullcrap and whatever they want to do. I don't get it.
I mean, it's weird because that set of ads isn't the one that makes me wonder what's going on. There's this other set, and maybe it's for Gardenscapes, but it's like there's the gaming element they show off is like, oh, tap on these things and pick the right choices to make this garden like become a garden, instead of like filling it with gasoline and having it explode for some reason. But all of the story bits that they keep showing are of this one woman who, like, the first time they showed, it's just like, oh, look, she's getting an ultrasound, she's having a baby, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. And now she's calling her somebody who's clearly cheating on her, and I'm like, okay. And then they'll do another one with the same character, and it's like, here's the gravestone of her mother, and I'm like, is everything just really bad for this person? I don't know.
She's got a lot of shit going on. Yeah.
Wait, these are in like subsequent ads that you saw?
There's like a weird storyline with the same character for the same game with subsequent ads where it's like, at some point she's like, her mom's clearly dead. Another point, her husband's clearly cheating on her. And another one is like, I think she totally gets with a different dude. And then like there was like, one where I was like, wait, is that the mom? Because there was this person who was beside her while she was getting groceries who like ran out into the street and she got hit by a bus, and I'm like, why are these ads happening at
Jesus
me?
Christ.
It's like, I don't want to play this game, but I'm emotionally invested in this story of the ads.
Kind of. Yeah, there's the one where she does the pregnancy test. Yeah, Chad knows what I'm talking about. They're weird.
Boop, ba-doop, boop, boop. There's this Yakuza story where... So there's sort of the sort of takeaway on this is this idea that they apparently changed the game. Like, they actually added new animations for the localization, which is kind of a fairly big deal to actually change the whole animation for the localization purposes. Although Yakuza has actually already been doing stuff where they changed the lip syncing for localization, which is pretty cool. But in this case, they actually like added this new animation of him like looking at the screen and giving a thumbs up, which is great. Except when you look at it, they totally muffed it.
Yeah,
like if they were making a new animation, why didn't they make a better one?
It's weird too because it's the game looks like it's like the Yakuza games have a lot of over the top stuff. So I'm seeing the animation not be like way more in the face of the camera and like just like extended is odd.
It's like it's just like and there's a text thing here.
Yeah,
like
see, I didn't even notice the thumb was supposed to be coming up.
It's like this.
Yeah, the thumb comes up like barely, and you just don't see it. The frustrating thing about it is like what I thought was frustrating is like the ensuing explanation from the localizers, who was like the dude who was sitting there. If you go watch the actual video that's linked on the Kotaku article, you'll probably be as frustrated as I am, because he's like we went to the devs and they were totally on board with like making this happen. And so, this whole but they don't know what a slow turn or the head nod thing is. They don't understand that. And I'm kind of like, okay, they don't understand that culturally, I guess, is that this is something that's funny to Americans, I guess. But he's so proud. He's clearly so visually proud of how well, because he said, no, that's not enough. You got to really do more. There's like more. And so this is what we got. And he's just so proud of what's happening. And I'm like, you probably spent like a couple weeks with them, I bet, going back and forth and back and forth. And when they finally delivered you this, you're like, yes! And you didn't run it by anybody else to say, sorry, Steve, Doug, Paul, Daniel, whatever the hell your name is, like, sorry, dude. That doesn't fucking land. Like, whatever you asked them to do and the minor tweaks they're making this entire time, and you're like, they finally got there. It's like, no, you've been watching it too long. You didn't realize that it doesn't deliver at all.
I mean, I have a hard time, based on a lot of stuff I've seen, believing that the devs don't understand why, like, looking into the camera and making like a fourth wall breaking joke. But I can understand them not understanding what the joke is with the like
English on
English that they're going for. But yeah,
the joke is supposed to be that there's a guy who's speaking English, and then and Kasuga's response is, "Oh shit, this guy's speaking English. I don't know how to speak English. How am I going to respond to him in English?" And like I'm going to look into the camera, and I'm like, why didn't you zoom in on his face? Like he was kind of like, or I had actually I thought what you should have done, dude, is he should have been like, oh shit, it's English, and you should have cut to a 2-shot of the two of them, and then have Casca think like, how am I going to respond in English, and have them both turn to the camera at the same time, and in a 2-shot, so they both have to turn and look into the camera, and then they turn and look back, and the camera just resets to where it was.
And I'm like, in my face like that,
and it's like that's what you should have done, because if you totally did a break and showed like them both turning and looking at a camera for no reason and turning back, that would really sell the fact that they're both very aware that there's a camera.
They don't show the whole conclusion of that scene during that video, do they? Like when they're talking about the thing, because they
showed it in the Japanese one. If you choose one of the other options,
and the Japanese one is really hilarious.
Yeah.
Also, I like that the Japanese one doesn't have the stressed English line at him, even though I get that they need that to try to sell their joke that they're going for.
Yeah, and I kind of thought the other way you go in the English one is you have the foreigner just start talking in like English, and then Casca's like, what? And then the guy's like, oh, and just does like pitch perfect Japanese delivery. And then Casca's like, oh, it's Japanese. I don't know anything about Japanese, and then like turn to the camera and do that. Like that would actually be funny too. But
And it's like the thumbs up is kind of the wrong. Like I would have gone.
should be a wink.
Well, no, I would have gone more of like a The Office oh, the more like less like a and more just like the like
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Raise an
Yeah.
eyebrow and just kind of like, you see this shit that's happening here that I have to respond to.
Yeah.
Because the after scene that happens where another character shows up and he's all like, "Oh, they're speaking English. I know things," and he just starts yelling like the best English.
Go left! Go, go, go! Believe in yourself!
Yeah,
I died when he yelled, believe in yourself.
that's why I wanted to see the rest of the English scene, because I'm like, I can kind of understand you have to do this thing that's like maybe that fits more with what you're going to end up keeping.
Yeah.
Because it's not the end of the scene for him to be like, oh, he's speaking English. Well, I don't know what to do with this. There's another part of the scene to get that through.
Yeah. I felt like they whoever it was that was like, I guess this dude at Sega's localization team was like, yes, the slow nod in this will sell the whole thing, and I'm like, maybe he thought that it would, but why wouldn't he try to like? I'm disappointed that I had to have the whole thing explained, because when I watched it, I'm like, he does this thing, and I'm like, okay, and then what? And he's like, well, see, he did a slow nod. And I'm like, no, he didn't. I'm like, oh, damn it! And now you've ruined that experience. I'm not going to play the game because it's not on a Nintendo platform, but you ruined that experience of detecting that there's something weird that's going on, like there's something really weird that's going on, because you had to explain it. And because you had to explain that I made this amazing joke, it's like, I didn't even see it, dude, so you didn't make an amazing joke, did you?
I mean, maybe there was also like stuff about like there was some sort of like timing requirement, like they wanted to do like a slow look, but because of how it was set up, it had to fit into the same timing window as the original piece.
Probably,
as the original thing, so they couldn't actually do like a slow look. I don't know.
I mean, I can also buy that they've gone back and forth on this so often that when he finally gets something that he's waiting for, the reaction that he's kind of waiting for, it's like, yes, I got what I wanted.
Yeah.
Because that happens, right? You play over a joke so often, trying to get it to land, that you can forget.
There's also...
I hope we get to the point of with character and I think we probably are in some cases with character animation in video games, where we can, have the subtlety of facial animation for characters to be like kind of do like look sheepish or look to the side or something, whereas things have to be quite over the top, sort of obvious now to sort of show things. But
yeah, I kind of Yakuza is also not a game that takes place in San Francisco or a lot. What's the other one? What's the Ace Attorney one everyone calls it?
I can't remember.
Californiapon? I have no idea, but
it's a fandom thing.
Anyway, because Ace Attorney always received the Ace Attorney series received a very heavy America.
It might have been
Japafornia, sure. A very heavy USA focused translation, which meant that everything you saw that was culturally Japanese, because a lot of that started to show up in the later games, they were like, oh shit, how do we translate this in a way that fits into our worldview and our structure? And they would do that. They'd find a way to do it.
You can get away with it in a visual novel type thing.
And I'm like, but I think the joke had perpetuated for so long that among Capcom localizers, it's kind of like, they're going to eat hamburger soup, and we're going to have enjoy this. There's a great Awkward Zombie comic where they're like Phoenix is standing at the top of like a frickin' like Osaka Castle kind of looking thing, and he's like, ah, yes, the beautiful Los Angeles skyline, and he's like, come eat hamburgers, and he's eating like, and he's saying to Apollo, like, and Apollo's like, what's going on? And he's like, come on, Apollo, eat your hamburgers, and he's like eating like ramen out of a bowl, and it's like, it's that kind of thing where they're like, they went so far into leaning into it that it obviously becomes a parody of that kind of idea. Yakuza is not that kind of game. Yakuza is not a game where they completely localize the location so it doesn't take place in Japan. So
it's explicitly supposed to be in Japan. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so
well,
it's like, if you
the
know
Phoenix
that,
Wright versions, I think Apollo Justice is actually in the U.S. because of a story
sure,
thing.
but Yakuza is a game that takes place in Japan, even when it's translated into English. They're not trying to localize it all into being a non-Japanese experience.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that also loses that too, when you're localizing it, and to be like, what if we do the English on English thing, and what if we do whatever? I'm like, if I've been playing the game up to that point, I'm just assuming that everything that's in English is only so that I can understand it. It's not trying to take away the flavor of the setting and what these people are actually speaking. It's just meant to be like translation.
But having I think having a little nod there to the weirdness of that.
Yeah, that's not
It's
a
great.
It's,
That could
it's not
be
a
good.
bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, they
But
didn't quite pull it off.
Yeah, and I think if you make it too subtle, then people are like, so this just happened, and you move on. And I'm like, no, if you really like called attention to it, it'd be like, oh right, I'm playing a game that is originally in Japanese, but now everybody's speaking English, but they don't understand English when they speak English at each other. Oh yeah, right. Make it jarring so it takes you out of the whole experience. To make a fourth wall break, I think that would have been really cool. Anyway. Fourth wall breaks are supposed to be jarring. They're supposed to be a thing that like
right.
Well, that's
catches
why they
you
break.
unawares.
That's why they break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
They're doing a thing that they shouldn't be doing, and it takes you out of the experience.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, talked
right.
a lot about that.
We've got Spider-Man, who is the cat, who is.
Yes.
Spider-Man.
I'm here for this.
Is the name of the cat that Spider-Man owns?
I think
Or
more.
I don't know.
More video games need a Spider-Man cat.
The cat is in Spider-Man's backpack. I don't know if he could be said to be owned by Miles Morales. Really, it sounds like it's more the cat is accompanying Miles upon his journey, rather than it is Miles's cat.
Yes,
the cat is Spider-Man, and it also needs to fight crime, but it can't make its own web shooters. And here's another Spider-Man who can help him out with that. So he works better in a duo pairing. That's all.
I do think it's funny.
It's not Spider-Cat. It's just Spider-Man the cat.
Yeah, like Miles actually calls him Spider-Cat at one point, but the cat's name is Spider-Man. But when he puts the mask on, then he becomes Spider-Cat.
Oh, what? Really?
Sure, why not? Like, I'm trying to think of...
Spider-Man is Spider-Cat's secret identity.
I am Spider-Cat. Secret identity. By day, I am Spider-Man. It's like, oh god, that's confusing.
No,
Holy shit.
this is
blowing
great.
my mind.
This is great. J. Jonah Jameson wants pictures of Spider-Man. He's just been asking for cat photos this entire time.
God, if nobody has done that yet, meme that shit up, because I'll help spread that everywhere to be like, bring me pictures of Spider-Man, and it's just the pictures of Cat, and it's like, yes!
Oh, I'm here for this
Finally.
universe.
What? Yeah, Peter Parker keeps giving me these stupid pictures of some guy in an outfit. I want cat pictures, damn it!
Yes!
These aren't good. They're not in focus. And where's the cat?
But what a great... it feels like the secret weapon unlocks in a lot of games, right? Like, the one I remember most is like Prince of Persia Warrior Within, where you could get secondary weapons that were weird, and when I was playing that, one of the ones I unlocked was a teddy bear, was my secondary weapon. And I like that idea of, we're going to give you a thing in game that if you go through this whole quest to finish it, you can come back later and then have the cat come with you and be a part of the game. I think it's really cool that they told everybody about this, but I also am a little disappointed that they did, because it seemed like this is like, it feels like this should have been an Easter egg that people would have found out later and be like, holy shit, you can do what? But
Now,
yeah.
does Now, does the cat actually change anything from a gameplay perspective, or is it just the
I don't think
animation
so.
for the like the combo is different now
For the finisher, yeah.
for the
I'm
finisher?
not sure.
I mean, it probably doesn't really change up the gameplay that much if it does. But you know, clearly
Also,
this cat is very popular, and therefore more video games will start having backpack cats for fighting, and here for that.
I should probably be clear, too, that from the look of the scene, Spider-Man the cat is not Miles's cat. Spider-Man the cat is the bodega cat at the
Right.
bodega that he goes to. The guy who owns the cat is the one who named it Spider-Man.
Oh, that's even better.
Right? So it's like, and I like that's where we, and I also think that's really weird because I wouldn't be like, this is my cat, Captain Marvel. Like I wouldn't do that.
There are people who do name their
There are
pets
people.
after superheroes and stuff. So,
Really?
yes,
Cats can be named. Pets are.
it's not that weird.
I definitely.
This is
seen
my
pets-
cat, the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah,
I don't know.
people do.
Human Torch. This is my cat, Human Torch.
Now,
Okay,
that's maybe not that one.
but now I'm starting to feel this. Now I'm starting to really feel
there
like
are
this is a
people
good
who
idea.
name their cats currently right now after baseball team names.
That's
It is
fair.
not that weird to be like, I will name this cat Spider-Man because I really like Spider-Man or something. It's not weird.
All right,
You're the weird. You're being weird now.
Like
Person-
naming
No
your
one
cat-
else is weird.
Naming your cat Thor or Thanos, I understand. Those are the actual names of like the. But calling your cat by somebody's secret identity term is, I think, weird.
It's not.
Now is Thor actually Thor's name? This is where things get complicated. Thor is
And I don't-
also Thor's
Title.
also his title.
Also, I had a cat named Phoenix, and it was not named after Jean Grey. Or whatever
So there-
clone of Jean Grey Phoenix was.
But there you go. That is a cat that is has a superhero name. Maybe it wasn't a superhero name in your mind, but I'm sure there's lots of there are animals named like Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fans of photography or indecent exposure. Yeah. So
A turtle
more
named
headlines?
Flash would actually be pretty good.
Wait, isn't that's Rainbow Dash's turtle?
Is it?
I think it is.
I can't. Maybe.
Anyway,
Rainbow Dash is a comic book fan. That tracks.
Bolt.
Tank.
good turtle.
Yeah,
Bolt-
no, it's Tank.
oh okay.
Bolt is a good turtle name.
Wow, got corrected on My Little Pony facts.
That's fine.
And then we also have all these headlines. Graham did kind of a roundup of little mini stories in talking about the Minecraft Steve's victory pose in Smash Bros. Ultimate, which can't have been a mistake. But also, why? Like, why would they do that? But like, they can't have done it accidentally. I don't know. I'd be curious to know whether they're going to change that or whether they're like, no, this is what we want.
Yeah.
Isn't it just like that one still though? Like I thought he eats the
He eats his own meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
I mean,
that
he
it
could.
only
Look at how
that
big it is.
Maybe like
Or
I
is-
haven't actually seen video. Is it that it's only if you pause on that one frame it looks bad? Otherwise, it's fine.
I didn't watch the video, but I
Like-
thought
like
I know
the
the
po-
pose
like-
because
like
the
the pose
pose
is
is actually
fine.
a pretty normal pose.
Like the pose is fine, right? Yeah, but it is the angle. But is it? Does the angle like move during the thing, or is it? Or does he just like stay like that for a
It's been
while?
so long since I've played Smash.
Just kind
I'm
of
pretty
breathing
sure
heavily.
I thought things moved around a bit when you had like the victory scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those, as with the Yakuza thing, maybe one of those things where you're looking at it so much you don't see it. And then Charizard, mint condition, like foily Charizard, sold for $183,000.
Plus the
Which-
buyer's fee on top of that.
Which over $200,000 ended up being because of the fees and stuff. which, woohoo! I thought Black Lotus was the what had the crown, and but not like I thought Black Lotuses had the crown and were like in the tens of thousands of dollar range. I didn't realize that the amounts were actually all up there so high.
For even a mint alpha Black Lotus, though, like,
Yeah, I honestly thought it was in the tens of thousands range, but clearly I was incorrect.
it's kind of it's like pop culture pop culture anything, and I include cars in this list as well. Is one of those when they sell for an amazing amount of money just based on their rarity. It does kind of make me go, oh my god, like, well, I bet on the wrong horse, like all of my hockey cards are not worth anything, or my brother's comic book collection is not worth anything, but this thing is worth something. And
Did you collect hockey cards with the intent of them being worth value later, or did you just collect them because you like them?
I liked collecting things, and then there was the thing in the back of my mind that they would hopefully be worth something someday as well. Because you see hockey cards like the original, like a Wayne Gretzky rookie card was worth like several $100s or $1,000 or whatever.
I mean, I collected IGA branded hockey cards for about a year because collecting was like the thing that was happening on the playground.
Mm-hmm.
But there was never a point where I was like, these will be worth money someday, so I should keep them, even though there were people who were doing that.
But what got me with this too, though, is I'm like, a Black Lotus, because we made the comparison. The Black Lotus is something that you could play in Legacy, right? It is still a playable card, and it's worth a lot of money to people because it's not only a part of the history of it and people chase after it, but also because it's powerful and you can
Vintage.
play.
Sorry,
Vintage. Sorry, thank you. I don't play Magic or
I know,
care,
but this way we'll be corrected now instead of later.
So in the you can still play with it. Can you still play with this mint condition first edition Charizard? Like, can you actually show up to a tournament with it and be like, I'm going to use this in a game? And that's something I was unaware of. But I guess you could.
To be honest, I have no idea
sure.
what the Pokemon card game tournament structure is like.
Heather did tell me that apparently in subsequent reprintings, Charizard has not been as powerful.
Well, no, I suggested that maybe that was the case, because like a lot of those older card games, especially when they first started, like Yu-Gi-Oh was particularly bad with a lot of its cards in the beginning as well, because it wasn't about
I mean
that kind of thing.
It's interesting that Black Lotus is like. There's actually a neat documentary on, I think it was on Netflix or maybe on Amazon Prime, but it was talking about baseball cards, and how it was basically it turned into basically like a racket, right? Like
right,
where companies were literally printing sheets of cards. There was no like they were printing sheets of cards that they knew were valuable already. Ken Griffey Jr., whatever. Or they were printing like the 1980 rookie card into like 1981. They were still printing that one because that was the one that was super valuable because that was the year he got, whatever. I don't know what the detail, but they're like, so it was all the, it was just it was a big bubble, right? Like there was people, it was all just like, there were people making the cards and people selling the cards and people buying the cards. But what I do like about Magic and Pokemon and this kind of stuff is that beneath all the collecting stuff, there is the cards have a certain amount of intrinsic value because of the game. It's not just how valuable they are to a collector. I mean, obviously, the $100,000 for a card is past what its value is in the game, but I like that there is that at least sort of base level of value to the cards.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt in this case too that part of it is nostalgia for the card having been powerful in the game. Like if you can't play it now, because like a lot of these games too have a lot of turnaround where you can't play cards after a while, or they've got more powerful cards put in, so that card's not actually that amazing anymore.
That's
But
true.
if that card, like first edition, is a thing, and was Graham said that he wrote a thing about how he couldn't afford the game when he was younger.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a nostalgic factor here, and if you're like you were into playing but you couldn't, or even if you were but you never got that card, and now it's like, oh hey, remember this card?
I got to start
And how-
200 grand. I'll go ahead and bid on it. Like
that kind of thing.
yeah.
The yeah. So I mean, people are saying that there's debate about whether Charizard is actually that good as a card now. I mean, part of the reason why Black Lotus is up there is because Black Lotus is still one of the most powerful cards that you can have.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just that it's rare; it's also that it is actually legitimately super powerful. That has never really been equaled in certain ways. Although it is the thing, I don't know. It's funny with Magic. The thing about Black Lotus is that it's very, very powerful, but also very boring. It's just like it's not that interesting a card. Like which is the most powerful cards often are not very interesting because they just like give you fundamental. They give you some advantage that is valuable in certain circumstances rather than something really complicated. But yeah. Anyway, Bloodborne, the 60 FPS patch for the PS4 Bloodborne, which is something that apparently the makers of Bloodborne have historically not been very interested in updating, in doing patches and this kind of stuff. So there isn't a lot of optimism that there will be a updated version of it for coming out. But there is this whole, we've talked about the backwards compatibility stuff, and theoretically PS5 there's obviously an opportunity there for a new for a remaster version of it, or at least, or not even, it might not even be a remaster version. Well, for Bloodborne it would have to be at least some sort of a remaster, because they can't just up the frame rate for silly reasons.
Yeah. If they've got stuff tied to frame rate, it's gonna be.
I mean, the second part of the joke that Graham put in there, the willingness to prioritize backwards compatibility improvements, is actually tied to frame rate, so that they can just ignore it twice as quickly. That's a joke about. Yeah, it's a joke about Bloodborne and Dark Souls in general. That for whatever reason, the system that From Software, the engine that From Software used, is very closely tied to frame rate, to the extent that moving it to 60 frames a second does all sorts of weird stuff that they've seen in the Dark Souls games.
Yeah.
Stuff like your weapons do more damage, or you take more damage, or all sorts of really weird stuff. So moving it to 60 frames a second is actually really complicated for annoying reasons. So chances are there isn't going to be a 60 frames a second version officially, and so I guess this patch will be coming out. Although how it will be patched for PS5 or PS4, I'm not totally sure, but
it'll probably just be it's probably one of those things where it's like, here's the PS4 version of this, so play it on your PS4 at 60 frames a second if you want, and because they're not releasing it on the PS5. I feel like that's probably his stance.
But also for this video, I was, for the story, I was saying to Graham Beach that the shoulder graphic for it is just I just have the poster image from the YouTube video that the guy posted demonstrating it, because I was like, I could take a screenshot from the video, but a still of a 60 frames a second video doesn't really look that impressive in comparison to the still of a 30 frames a second video.
I had suggested what we should have done, or what we could have done, not should have, but could have done, is taken a still, put a white line down the center, and put 30 frames a second on one side and 60 frames a second on the other side.
There you go, yeah.
And see if people would have been like, wait, that doesn't tell us anything. Because I think if you do something like that, people wouldn't exactly flip immediately and realize, oh, that's part of the joke.
I mean,
Frame rate M1, thank you. Yes, Mangled Pixel.
Hypothetically, depending on how the frame rate is actually generated, you might see like less intraframe blurring.
Right.
If something is moving really fast at 30 frames a second, depending on how it's being rendered and all the steps that it goes through in order to become a YouTube video, you might see it more blurred on the 30 frames versus the 60 frames, but probably not. I love, actually, as a random point about frame rate, I loved that we did a story a long time ago about Overwatch and how they do some of a bunch of the animations in Overwatch, if you watch in slow motion, are totally wacky because they use intra-frame, they actually use intra-frame distortions. And so, rather than boop, 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 when somebody like pulls out a gun, the actual model in the game, the 3D model, gets like stretched to kind of emulate how like motion blur would happen on it.
Yeah, it's like animation smearing
in animation, but they're actually doing it for real because shutter speed isn't a thing when you're actually just like rendering stuff. So 3D smears is a really neat idea. But it also makes it look super silly when you like pause between things. All right, and yeah, you can play as Sonic the Hedgehog in Fall Guys,
which seems a little unfair in a game about racing.
Yeah, turns out no, you can play as a Fall Guys character dressed as Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
which is also my OC. Yes,
it definitely has that mascot look.
Yeah, it's dressed in somewhat questionable Sonic the Hedgehog cosplay. Like, to be honest, it's not even that great. Like, it's fine Sonic the Hedgehog cosplay. Like, I would not be... Like, if I saw that person at a convention, I'd be like, yeah, visible seams between the two, the top and lower, lower and upper half of the
it hits most of the design points. It's blue. It's got like the one eyeball thing going on.
Yeah.
The right sneakers are there. The gloves are there. Like the spines are there. Like if you were to describe to someone, hey, this is what Sonic the Hedgehog looks like, and they came back to you with this, you'd be like, yes, that's partially my fault because I didn't get maybe some design details in there, but essentially recognizable.
I will say the Sonic outfit for Fall Guys is more convincing than the Sonic outfit the person demonstrating the new Sonic outfit for Fall Guys was wearing during the live stream. That was not good. The guy
I did not watch it.
The guy, I just saw screenshots of it, but the guy was wearing like the sort of blue top with like a blue balaclava kind of thing with like a.
Oh, okay. Closet cosplay. Yeah.
Wow. Well, it probably somebody paid a lot of money to have that happen. I'm assuming. We just made an assumption. We don't know if that actually happened or not.
It's part of Sega's 60th anniversary, I think.
So it stands to reason that somebody probably paid to get this into the game. But
so they've been doing a few promotional things. Like they're giving away some stuff on Steam, which I was super excited about until I found out what they were giving away, which is like not actual
Sonic games.
Well, no, it's not. They're not giving away like actual games. They're giving away like a bunch of test prototype games, which is kind of odd.
Weird.
Okay.
they went into the vault and discovered a bunch of stuff that they never finished, and like people will love this. And like in a way, you're right. People do love seeing that stuff. But
I mean, the assumption is definitely that they probably did pay Fall Guys money. I don't care if they did or not, but I do hope that since it's a Sega property, that they were paid a lot of money.
I'm
to put that
assuming
in there.
I'm assuming money changed hands. Yeah, this is the guy from the stream.
Oh wow, wow, huh?
Sonic is what the shirt says.
Because as we all know, Sonic wears a shirt that says Sonic on it.
Yeah, it's like a
Every
1980s Halloween costume.
Every Halloween, you have to let people know who you are, otherwise they'll be like, oh, that's not a real outfit.
It's
and
like,
then they won't
no,
pick up
I'm
your
Rubik's
candy.
Cube! I'm Rubik's Cube!
The mask with the like super janky eye and mouth holes are just really what makes it.
Yeah.
That looks like a piece of fabric they cut holes in.
I really I love that they did that. I love they went to that kind of effort. Good for them.
Alrighty. Oh, and finally, of course, you can pet dog and cat in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Yay! And not only can you pet them, but based solely on the like images and stuff available, you can pet them like well. It's not just like, hey, pet. You appear to be like, really getting in there with like head scratchies, which I appreciate.
I also really appreciate the line that says Ubisoft, who for years enabled and protected abusers at the highest levels of their executive, have confirmed that you can pet the dog.
Yeah, that's a real tonal whiplash.
That's
I just like pointing that out.
Yep.
Every single time, and right now it's going to happen every single time.
Yeah, I mean,
but yes, it's really cool that you can pet the dog and the cat, and like really well.
Unless they make any kind of show of actually trying to change anything, which they haven't, which makes me sad. Not only mostly for the stuff they did, also because I always liked Ubisoft. They seemed like a positive. They seemed like
have
a
some
positive.
Games I like.
They seemed like a positive influence on the industry in a lot of ways, and as is often the case with these things, it turns out that there was stuff going on behind the scenes that is not as good. In fact, one may even say bad. And also censorship stuff in Genshin Impact, which
Hard G, Genshin.
Genshin Impact.
Yeah, you can't say Taiwan or Hong Kong
or
Kong. Is it just Kong?
There's a bunch. There's a bunch of words that you can't say.
You also can't say the name of the VTuber Coco. I forget her last name. Kiryu, I think it is, because she was the one who was mentioned. Oh, look at all the viewers that I have. That's coming from Taiwan, and they're like, you can't say that. So the company, I think she worked for Hololive, was basically like, we're suspending her. We're getting rid of her. Because it's like she didn't understand why she couldn't say I think she's American, and she's like, I don't understand why I can't say Taiwan. Like the people there are from Taiwan. I was reading it off of a list. I don't get this, and she got mad about it. And
I mean, she should get mad about it. Taiwan's a real place.
Yeah, but the company she's working for was kind of like, we have a lot of business in China, and you can't say those words. So that's a huge fucking thing, and we don't know. I don't know enough about it. And it wasn't part of the news this week, but we're gonna just move on.
But you definitely can't pet animals in Genshin Impact. I tried. It was actually really annoying when I came across a dog, and I was like, "Oh, cool."
Seems
There's
like
no
a
interact
no-brainer.
button.
Yeah.
Weird.
Weird. I do have to say about the Genshin Impact thing. I was kind of surprised at the surprise, I guess. Like, just because that's the thing that all Chinese games have, and any games that want to operate in China. And it seems odd to me that people didn't realize that Genshin Impact was a Chinese game, because it's quite clearly a Chinese gacha game. And so the amount of sort of like people being like, what? I found a little bit odd.
It's the game where I'm pretty sure we covered the story about it being promoted, and the guy like broke his PS4 over it because how dare they make like a thing that looks like Breath of the Wild and Nintendo only, and everyone holding up their Switch things, and it's like, oh, this Chinese game. And like, how do you not know at this point? Like, not like from a typical like, oh, I'm just playing games and maybe I'm not paying attention to those things stuff, but people within our friend group I expected would know.
Well, I mean, the when you see MiHoYo's logo below it are the words, I guess, part of their slogan or something. Marketing slogan is "Tech Otaku Save the World" or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Otaku's not a Chinese word; it's a Japanese word.
That's true.
So
I mean,
the assumption that
yeah,
you see that, you're like, oh, I guess it must be a Japanese company.
It's a Chinese company making a Japanese style game, I guess, is sort of the thing. But anyway. All right. What else are we talking about here? Actually, this is weirdly similar to the fish playing Pokemon story. Is that Spelunky 2, which is as Spelunky as is Spelunky 1, from what I understand, a very, very great game that is incredibly hard, but in a fun way.
Having played Spelunky 1, I agree. It is a hard game, but it is fun.
But anyway, for testing purposes, what's really interesting is because it's a randomly generated thing, right? It's procedurally generated. Obviously, testing every possible scenario is impossible. But what they ended up doing is there are little AI guys in the game that you can like pick up over the course of a run who ostensibly you're trying to save, but apparently they cause more problems than they like are actually kind of a detriment to your endeavors. So they had to build an AI for these little guys to like have them move around and jump over things and do stuff. And so they realized that they could actually take that AI and make some improvements to it and add the capabilities of the actual Spelunky character, and then just use that to do testing. And so now what they can do is they can do thousands upon thousands of iterations going through generating. First, they just were like generating levels with the algorithms to make sure that they were levels that are like that are beatable in the sense that there is a way to get to the exit and that kind of stuff. But then they found that by using this AI thing, they actually could like generate the level and then have this AI try to get through it. And the AI isn't as good as a person and not as creative as a person or whatever, but they are able to get an idea of the kinds of things that might cause problems or things that they need to change about the level generation and this kind of stuff. So it's basically like making a fish play a bunch of the levels, but it's a very sophisticated fish that actually knows how to play the game. I feel like this could be one of those situations where the AI is like depressingly good at when you're first starting out, the AI might actually be better at you than the game.
I mean, that makes sense. The AI already knows what to expect, and you're figuring things out.
But anyway, so they're talking about how like there's a balance, of course, because programming like a real an AI that would be as capable as a person would be ridiculously complicated for a game like Spelunky, because there's so many like weird edge cases, different abilities that interact together in different ways and all this stuff. And so there's like this balance of how much time you spend on the AI thing that's a testing and how much time you spend on that when you could be spending time actually working on the game. But they reached a kind of a balance of an AI that is capable of a lot of dealing with a lot of situations, and allows them to shortcut a lot of their testing. So basically, they can run through a whole bunch of stuff before they move into real playtesters, human playtesters. They can have a whole bunch of get a whole bunch of situations that would be just a waste of time for the regular playtesters.
Right.
They can get those out of the way by using this AI system first.
Kind of a more like simplistic things to test against, and it's like we need the human brain to actually do a lot of the more complicated wet work to figure out if there's problems in this game. I liked the idea though of like somebody made an AI to try to beat the hardest game. I'm like, good, actually do more of that. I don't have time to play all these games. I'd rather just let it run in the background and let it be for me.
You were never gonna play Spelunky.
I'm never gonna play Spelunky.
I mean, he's saying it's actually totally hypnotic. I've discovered myself a lot of just watching the screen to see if the AI could reach the exit. It's almost like watching a Twitch streamer or something, like watching a stream. They're saying that sadly this AI wasn't actually shipped with the game. You can't run your own thing in the AI, but I mean, there's all sorts of course. There's AIs that they were developing for like playing Dota and League of Legends and stuff too. The sort of implementing like sort of the chess AI kind of things in order to deal with these more complex games. So who knows? Who knows where we could get AIs are coming for the streamers' jobs. It's true. I mean, considering a fish came for the streamer's job also.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to the AI that's running the knitting machine under creative.
Ooh.
I mean, the thing is, Muteki Maru is still making money off of that fish.
What about you could do like a thing that like either knitting or just like painting that just like follows the fish's path, like just draws it on like a something.
We have
like logo
as it goes over and over for itself.
What is it? There's like programs you can get that will do where if you're drawing with a pencil, it will mimic the thing to draw digitally. So if you could set up a thing for the fish to have the inputs that would go in digitally, you could easily trace its path of swimming that way. Maybe give it some buttons to change brushes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
that would be super fun to watch. Because I mean, there's like all sorts of real things. They get like elephants and things to paint stuff, right?
Raccoons
in the same kind of way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're just gonna get the raccoon meme.
Yeah, I love that. There was a little picture of a raccoon that they gave some paint to and a canvas, and the raccoon realized it could like put its paws in paint and then put them on the canvas.
Oh right, because they have such delicate,
sensitive
fingers. Yeah, they probably could do all sorts of.
They got wiggly appendages.
Yeah, and they seem to really like doing it. Like, I mean, there's a lot of anthropomorphization there, where you're seeing a raccoon smile, but it's like, is that a smile? Is the raccoon having fun? I actually don't know.
It might just be like, thing.
Oh, goopy. Oh, make a thing. Oh,
yeah. Like it might just be trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. It's always tricky about that, figuring out how animals react to stuff. All right. Call of Duty Warzone is getting new spooky Halloween skins for Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Jigsaw.
Well, Saw, I guess.
Saw,
if you're gonna use the name of the movies, yeah.
Yeah.
And Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, Leatherface is.
Okay.
Which, I'm going to be honest, look really dumb. Especially the Saw puppet, like, just as like a mask on a full-size person, just looks very weird. And not like scary weird. Just weird.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, here. That's, I don't know.
Oh, so it's like life size. It's not like the puppet itself that you just slide it over your head and there's like arms and legs akimbo and a
No,
person
no.
running around. Like I'm sorry, I was thinking
Yeah.
like Fallout trains that are on like a human's body, like that kind of.
Yeah, Beach was thinking of something more janky than what they actually did.
Yeah. But
Eh.
yeah,
And here's Leatherface.
Jesus, it's like watching like just two idiots just running around the field. It's like I'm part of the army now, and it's like holy shit, who let this guy in? Look at how scary I am, and it's like yes, scary.
Also, yeah, Leatherface with a gun just seems wrong. Like,
It's a gun that shoots chainsaws.
Texas Machine Gun Massacre somehow isn't as scary. Somehow is less scary than Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know why.
Sounds a little more like a rip from the headlines thing. But hey, yeah, buy some skins, be Halloweeny, I guess. In Warzone. Speaking of skins,
Yeah, speaking of skins, Fortnite is offering a refund on its NFL skins because they are changing, as with a lot of places, they're changing the Redskins skin to be the intermediary name, which is just the Washington
Okay.
team. What is
I
the
think
name? Is it just like the Washington football team?
I think that because I was
Yes.
reading this trying to make sense of this, and
The
I
good
don't
old
follow.
Washington football teams.
Yeah, I don't actually understand what the because like they had 8 names. It looks like there's 8 skins: Rush, Juke, Interceptor, Blitz, Strong Guard, Spike, Gridiron, and End Zone. I'm like, none of these, most of these are not great names for the Washington football team. But apparently all 8 of those skins they did not have the right they didn't have the right logo, so they're now letting you refund all of them
So
rather than just change them.
no. Well, it's they're changing them so that they're now the Washington football team. But if you bought it wanting a thing with the Redskins logo on it,
Yeah, they're letting you have a refund
You
because
can
they're
now
changing the thing you technically bought.
you can now refund it.
Cool.
Because, yeah. So, whatever. Obviously, the Washington football team. It's not a good name, but better
No.
than what they had before, I guess.
I mean, yeah.
The Washington Wooden Teeth.
Yeah, that seems much more like we're doing this for legal reasons because we changed the product in which you
Yeah, I'm sure that's
wanted,
what it
rather
is.
than
It's just,
a statement.
Like,
But-
no, I wanted my racist name for my football team. It's like, good, let's put those people on a list.
alrighty. Pokemon Go has new strange eggs.
Oh, right.
They're
There's
like
a-
regular eggs, but strange. They can be attained by beating Team Go Rocket leaders.
Right.
And they contain only dark or poison type Pokemon.
Oh.
But they're strange. They're not like... Because Pokemon doesn't make, value judgments about dark and poison. They're
No.
strange. They're not like, evil eggs.
Yeah.
Except you're getting them from the evil
Up,
team.
down, top, bottom, charm, and strange.
They also you have to walk 12 kilometers to hatch one. So
I mean, this
they're-
is also
they're
going to
pretty
be a thing where if you
long
don't
walk
have
eggs.
an empty spot for that egg to take when you go and do this thing to acquire it. So if you got like a bunch of 5K eggs for some reason, I guess you're going to have a couple 2K. You're going to have to make sure you have spots open, not be hitting the stops to get random eggs to fill those spots because you're going to need a space for your strange egg that you apparently probably really want because you have to go fight a thing and do a special thing to obtain it.
So you can get Poniard, Volabai, Sandile, Trubbish, Scraggy, Larvitar, Diano, or Absol from those. I don't know if those are particularly big sought after Pokemon, but there it is. Also, there's an event going on right now so they're 12-kilometer eggs, which sucks. That's a long way. But there's an event going on right now that cuts that down for all eggs, and
By 75%.
allows you to get incubators for cheaper and stuff. So I guess it's okay at the moment.
Lets you push through getting all those eggs that are currently sitting in your eggable whatever.
The friend eggs you got, I think, were 7K eggs. So this is now we're giving you a 12K egg, which is now the longest walking egg we've put out.
Yeah, so they're currently 3-kilometer because of the 75% reduction bonus.
That's not so bad.
I'm
still not happy about it, but
here's a bit of news that is mostly silly, fun news because I don't know very much about World of Warcraft, and so maybe this isn't a new thing, but it just sounds so stupid. So Warcraft has they come out with the new expansions obviously every year or two, and the new expansion is going to be Shadowlands. Before that patch comes out, there is a pre-patch that brings previous game up to the does a bunch of stuff in preparation for the patch.
sure.
Okay. So there's the pre-patch, and the pre-patch is so you're ready for the pre-expansion content. Because there's going to be some pre-expansion content, which is stuff that happens before the expansion hits. So there's the pre-patch that happens before the pre-expansion that prepares you for the actual patch and expansion. However, because of the pandemic and so forth, the pre-expansion has been delayed and doesn't currently have a release date. So the pre-patch has happened, and there's going to be a pre-expansion event, but when that pre-expansion event happens, we don't know.
Okay.
But when that pre-expansion event happens, that will prepare you for the expansion, which also is going to yes, the new expansion is also going to be doing some unpruning. Which so it's going to be doing a level squish.
Okay.
So it's going to go from 120, I think, 130
down to 50. Yeah.
Down to 50, so it's going to go from 120 down to 50 with the pre-patch, and then when the actual expansion comes out, that will then increase to 60. Also, also in the last expansion, they pruned a bunch of the skill trees for the classes. People didn't like that, so they're going to. Are
you allowed to prune a skill tree?
They're going to unprune the skill trees.
I see.
To some extent, which my dad's a gardener, so the idea of unpruning I find kind of weird.
The idea of pruning a skill tree is the best pun ever.
Yeah, so the pruning actually apparently has been happening over the last little while. But now they're going to unprune stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, there isn't really a joke here other than the concept of pre-expansion, or the pre-patch comes before the patch, which is the pre-expansion event for the expansion for the patch.
Right.
That will be unpruning things.
Yeah.
Mostly it's just the terminology that is involved in what is obviously a very complex rollout process. And also some or parts of that whole process have been indefinitely delayed at the moment because of pandemic stuff. Yeah. So far, they do not have a pre-release though.
That's good.
We're the only ones with that.
It's just like, yeah, how many things how many suffixes can you start to add to these words?
Yeah. Okay. I think that is actually all the stuff to talk about.
I think so. That's all the stuff that we ended up in the. I don't know
Yeah.
if we have anything old sitting in the CheckPoint Slack, but
We didn't do we didn't do ChillPoint last week. So obviously we missed some stories there in terms of talking about them. But to be honest, I don't know if there was anything super exciting to talk about.
well, Amazon Games killed Crucible.
So yeah, there wasn't
Right.
anything super exciting to talk about. Cool.
Yeah,
There was, like, I mean, I know Graham posted about this.
Has anybody played Crucible? Hands up.
I know Graham posted about this today, but I got this email like the other day as well about how Sony is changing the way the PlayStation Store online works. So you're not going to be able to buy PSP, PS Vita, or PS3 games on the store online unless you're buying it through the store on those consoles.
interesting.
But also, they're getting rid of the wish list.
Just
That is
in
weird.
total? For,
Yeah,
like, for
everything you have on the wish list, on your wish list, is just, they're gonna remove from the wish list because they're getting rid of the wish list on their store. You know, the thing that I use to keep track of your games because I have a hard time navigating your store, Sony.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like a wish list is like kind of a easy feature that makes it so that people
Yeah.
are telling you what games they want.
I mean,
Yeah, like,
Apple
it seems-
actually had a wish list too that they got rid of in an update like ages ago, and I got mad about that.
Like, yeah, it seems like a good feature to have to allow your customers to tell you what games they want.
I think the problem might have been more that they noticed that people. Here's how I would see it: they probably noticed that people were adding stuff to their wish list, so that they would come back every so often and scan through it, or maybe get an email that, hey, the price has changed, and notice that, oh, people are spending less money because rather than buy a game when they see it come out, they put it on their wish list and they wait for it to drop in price or have a sale or whatever because it's very convenient. So if we just get rid of the wish list, it'll mean that it's harder for them to do that. Maybe that will just encourage them to buy the game at whatever price they see it at. And I'm like, I don't think you really understand. Because
I mean,
there will be websites
I-
devoted to making sure that you can do this.
There are websites absolutely devoted to that. I use some of them.
Yeah.
I will admit that my Steam wish list is largely, it's like, oh, that game looks great. I will buy that. I will put that on my wish list, and then when it comes down in price, I will get that.
Yeah.
And then I'll get a note from Steam being like, hey, this game is 30% off, and it's like, now it's $30 instead of $50, and I'll be like, no, I think I'd still prefer not to buy it.
I can see an argument being made that, like, if you can't put it on a wish list, like being able to put something on a wish list maybe stops impulse buying. But for me, it just means I will say, oh, I guess I'll think about that later because I can't put it on a wish list to think about it later, and then I won't. Whereas I regularly check my wish list when I have, like, when I'm like, oh, I could go for a new game. And yeah, maybe I do look to see if there's anything on sale first, but that doesn't preclude me from
Yeah.
from doing from buying something at a higher price when I'm in the mood or something I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Like I hate it when people don't have wish list features for their stuff. And maybe I'm not going to buy everything I put on a wish list, but
Yeah.
The other thing,
take that away when I have a hard time navigating your store, and that's basically how I keep track of all the DLC for a game that I'm like, I have this game and I want to grab this DLC eventually. Maddening.
the other thing, my other use for Steam wishlist in particular is every once in a while I'll get an email that's like 40 things on your wish list are on sale. I'm like, oh, it's Steam Summer Sale apparently.
Yeah.
That's how you. It's like everything on your wish list is on sale. Oh, that's just because everything on Steam is just doing its big sale thing. Cool. That's a good way of getting notified of that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about what's coming up. And what is coming up is Friday Night Paper Fight, where we're going to be playing some of the commanders. And we're going to be, this is, I believe, specifically Zendikar commander. As in, I think that the commander has to be somebody from Zendikar. I think that's the requirement that we set. And that's going to be Nelson and Ben Ulmer and Ben Wheeler and our good friend Olivia, the Affinity for Artifacts, in Olivia Gobert Hicks. So that'll be super fun. That's coming at 5:00, and then we've got after that we have Play It Forward. So nothing on Saturday. Play It Forward on Sunday. We've got Corey coming back with I Can Fell. Speaking of cat petting, I hear that is a very important part of that game.
You pet the cat to save the game.
Excellent. And then Rhythm Cafe, Osu Takete Dodu Odu Dedan.
Beach, you want to help him out?
Os Tatakai Oendan. Or if you want to, Os Tatakai Oendan!
That's what I was waiting for. It's about Cheer Squad.
Yeah.
Cheer Squad.
This is an older game from the Nintendo DS, and it seems weird to say that it's a classic, but God, it's a classic.
Oh man, NIS needs to make another one.
Yeah.
Ian and I always speculate that it would be great for them to do a crossover between Oendan and Elite Beat Agents and like do a world travel type thing. And, one day.
And then on Monday we have the return of the Heat Death rerun thing that we're doing. So episodes 3 and 4 of the Alien Heat Death campaign will be rewatching on Monday evening.
The blurb I have a little problem with because this is anticipation of the return of Heat Death. We're replaying the first 4 episodes. It makes it sound like you're making everybody sit down again and replay everything. Hopefully they don't fuck it up this time. Cameron's like, we're gonna go back and do episode 1 again, guys. This time don't be idiots about it.
Or maybe they could F it up worse because like unfortunately I think by the end of the replay stuff, no one has died yet, and
we are re-airing the episodes. How about that?
Yes, the 5 and 6 have also been pre-recorded as well, but they will be new content when those show up.
You'll have never seen them before.
Yes, so those will be so 5 and 6 will be starting 5 will be on the 26th, and 6 will be on the 2nd of November. And then on Tuesday we got Minor Clock, followed by Talking Sim Elsinore.
They're still playing Elsinore, huh? Neat.
Followed by Silent Hill 3 on Let's Nope.
Yeah, I have to watch that one.
And then on Wednesday, it's going to be Crossing the Streams, which I believe is going to be some Jackbox stuff.
I think so.
We haven't
actually done Jackbox in a couple weeks now because we have done like Among Us and various other things instead. So that'll be fun. All right, let's welcome awesome people who subscribe during the stream. Starting with Sikander for 4 months. Thank you.
Gifted by the Maricat.
Equal division of labor. This is totally normal.
Monakai, Offbeat Witch, Thunderbird 32, Anarin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think.
Sure.
I haven't pronounced their name ever. Someone else always gets that one. Lunar Jade, that me. Loading Ready Run, Go Stark. That's a weird name. I've never heard of Loading Ready Run before. Robot in Progress, Ashes and Mochi, or Ash Sand Mochi, whatever your flavor, The Wandering Nomad, and the Anthony D. Thank you for the gifts, Maricat.
Carkets Toaster. Probably more a Carkets Toaster. Gifted by the Maricat as well. Thank you.
Jason Maxwell for 30 months. Thank you very much.
Ark of the Conclave for 28 months. Welcome back.
And a big welcome back to Zapple Jacob, who's been here for 31 months.
Count Zero or...
Ooh, and Raji Knits, 57 months. Awesome. I do hope you are a knitter.
Ulfgar21 has been here for 6 months. Welcome back.
Plus DY for 17 months.
Nova Tiempo for 26 months. Welcome back.
Nova Tiep2 has been here for 22 months. Welcome back. I always see those two back to back. It's very good.
Nice.
Nullacola Ship for 55 months.
Chronicler C for 79 months. This number's getting large.
Hester Beard has been here for 5 glorious months. Welcome back, Hester.
Evil Spoons. Wait,
Yep.
sorry. I stopped paying attention. Sorry,
Evil
folks.
Spoons. 983 for 28 months.
Explode for 14 months.
Welcome back to Horton Fears a Coup, who's been here for 16 months. That's a perfect square.
Glory Seer for 6 months.
Lord Crusher for 65 months. Now you have enough months to retire.
Oh, we had another sub there. Thought we were going to get into the bits, but it's Godeki, Godik for 75 months. It's so many months. Welcome back.
And thank you for 500 bits from Farabender27, Gapfiller, and Izandai. Thank you all so very much. And we will see all y'all later. We're going to be doing Friday Night Paper Fight in about an hour, 15 minutes. But until then, I hope you have a good evening. You know what? Even after that, I hope you have a good evening.
Yeah, eat some good food.
Have a good after morrow. Have a good afternoon. Have a good after evening.
Be enjoyed.
Talk to y'all later. Bye.